Return of the zone. Return of the zone. Return of the zone. HTL, I'm home. That's right, after a brief break to welcome my daughter, Lebronica, into the world, I'm back, baby. Speaking of baby, I've been gone the past couple of weeks because I've been busy changing diapers and welcoming my daughter, Violet Stanley Fisher, into this world. Oh, there she is, that little cutie. I'm not holding it against her that my beloved Cavs are 0-4 since Violet came on the scene. That's all right. Maybe we should have named her Lebronica, Mom. That's what I've been saying. So what did I miss while I was gone? All right, well, the Cavs are out. LeBron may be leaving Cleveland, and basketball and hockey have come to an end for the summer. It's been rough, but I'm ready for bigger and better things, like the Browns. Okay, scratch that. The Indians? I don't know. Welcome to Halftime Live, everybody. I'm your host, Jason Zone Fisher, and it is great to be back. I have missed you out there, and it feels good to be home. We're coming at you during the Dodgers-Cubs game. It's currently in a rain delay. Hasn't even started, so don't worry. You haven't missed anything in that baseball action. Two teams that are used to battling each other come October. They haven't even started playing yet because it's raining in Chicago. Now, in case you forgot the basics while I was away, we're a live sports trivia game show where you answer questions to win real money. And tonight, we're talking stacks on stacks on stacks. All that stands between you and a pile of dough is 12 questions. Each question has 3 answers to choose from. Only one of them is correct. You get all 12 questions right, and you'll be winning or splitting our grand prize. Now, if you choose a wrong answer, don't worry. You can use our version of a cheat code and get right back in the game with an extra life. And getting extra lives, easy. Just invite your friends to play HTL and boom, you're back in the game like EA Sports. Or do like I did and just make another human, sign them up for Halftime Live, and cash in that new life for an extra life. You gotta be committed to win here. Go reproduce. All right, tonight we've got over 3,670 players in our game fighting for that cash prize, including Dr. Summers, Go Terps 92, Rummy 0808, Slickums, and Bead Eater. Don't eat beads. Just win money here. All right, I had no idea that rain was in the forecast on this Monday night, but it's clearly for the Cubs and the Dodgers, and here too because it is raining cash here at HTL. So get your umbrellas out, as our grand prize tonight is $1,000. That's serious, folks. That's a lot of money. Are you ready to add a comma to your bank account tonight? Well, make sure you're sitting next to a smart friend as it's wheels up for America's favorite sports trivia game show as we take off on our journey for $1,000 with question number 1. Who is tied for being the tallest NBA player of all time? Michael Jordan, Manute Bol, Danny DeVito. Woo, okay. 2 of these guys actually played in the NBA, while the third may not be tall enough to start on a 6th grade basketball team. Jordan, MJ, his airness, he stood at a pretty average NBA height of 6 foot 6 inches. The only thing about him that wasn't remarkable. Danny DeVito checks in at a whopping 4 feet 10 inches. Not much of a basketball player, meaning the answer is the late, great Manute Bol. Bol is tied with George Murasan as the tallest NBA player ever, standing at 7'7". Manute Bol averaged less than 3 points a game. I'm pretty sure if I was 7'7", I could put up better numbers than that. Maybe. Probably not. 3,696 of you got it right. Almost every single one of you stood tall on that question like Manute Bol. And now you get to hit the gridiron for question 2. In what month does the NFL regular season start? September, May, or March? Can't wait for football season to start. It's going to be here before you know it. It literally can't go worse for the Browns than last season, right? I mean, unless they had a 17th game and go 0-17. So any true football fan knows that the NFL season kicks off in September. Opening night is September 6th in Philadelphia as the Eagles get their rings in front of the visiting Falcons. Hasn't Atlanta suffered enough? I mean, first the whole 28-3 debacle. Now the Eagles, they knock them out of the playoffs, and now they're going to get their rings in front of the Falcons' faces? Another reminder of no ice this year for Matty Ice. 3,639 of you are a step closer to getting your HTL championship rings. Better get them fitted. All right, as we take a short flight from Philly for question 3. What is the Chicago neighborhood that surrounds Wrigley Field called? Wrigleyville, Times Square, or Hollywood? This feels like a question 1 level of easiness here. If you've got any sort of reading comprehension skills or basic understanding of geography, you should be just fine. This is not a trick question. Times Square is in New York City. Hollywood is in Los Angeles, not far from here at HTL Studios, meaning the answer is, of course, Wrigleyville. Wrigleyville is the neighborhood that surrounds Wrigley Field. Think about it. Wrigley Field, Wrigleyville. We're not trying to trick you. We're saving that for our later questions. It's gonna get tougher. Almost all of you got that question right. 3,516 of you know your Chi-Town neighborhoods like Kanye and get to take a trip to the movies for question 4. In the film Teen Wolf, what sport does the main character play? Basketball, boxing, or football? Was ever playing a sport and one of the athletes morphed into a wolf? I would the awful Teen Wolf 2, a decidedly less awesome sequel where Jason Bateman is a werewolf who boxes. At least in the original, the wolf had to learn how to dribble and shoot because Michael J. Fox was playing basketball. My favorite part of the movie is when he's surfing on the roof of the Wolfmobile. Why can't I get a Zone Mobile out here? All right, 2,946 of you got it right. A lot of you actually thought it was football. Over 400 of you. Crazy. No, that is not. It's sorry to see you get tripped up. Hopefully you've got an extra life so you can stay in this game. And remember, if you don't have an extra life, just create a human being, sign them up for a halftime live, get them in the game. You'll still be playing. It's really that simple. All right. Earlier we talked about tall NBAers. Now let's make like Skilo and honor some shorter ones. I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish it was a baller. I wish I had a girl look good. I would call her. Question 5. Who is the only NBA player 5'9" or shorter to score over 10,000 points in their career? Spud Webb, Calvin Murphy, or Muggsy Bogues? I'm inspired by all 3 of these guys. So which of these guys doesn't wish he was a little bit taller? Because, well, he's already a baller. 7,000 points in his career. Spud Webb is the shortest slam dunk champion at 5'7", and he had over 8,000 points in a solid career, but the answer here is Hall of Famer Calvin Murphy. Murphy scored almost 18,000 points, and at 5'9", Murphy is the shortest player in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Maybe I should rethink this whole basketball thing. I'm not ready for that. Okay, this one was trickier, as most of you thought it was Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb. You're familiar with them. Maybe you're children of the 80s and 90s, but Calvin Murphy is the man. Only 840 of you got it right. We lost almost over 2,000 of you on that question. That's crazy. Use those extra lives if you've got them to stay in this thing. I don't want to see you come up short. Pun intended. Now let's try to keep your streak going for those of you who survived for question 6. What is the Cubs' current streak for seasons they've made it to the NLCS? 4, 3, or 2? We all know about the Cubs' 108-year streak that ended a couple years ago, but how many times have they made it to the game before the big game? The Cubs have made it to the last 3 National League Championship Series. They've got to think for New York and LA, as they lost to the Mets in 2015. They beat the Dodgers in 2016 en route to their first World Series, a series that I'm still not over, and they lost to the Dodgers last year. The Indians currently have the longest World Series championship drought at almost 70 years. Come on, baseball gods, it's our turn. 639 of you did well on that one and got that question right. Good for you. For those of you who survived, well, we're going to head to the 90s as we head to our second half of our game for question 7. What MLB team went to the World Series the most from 1990 to 2000? The Yankees, the Braves, or the Blue Jays? Which baseball team dominated the 90s more than Backstreet and NSYNC? All right. The Blue Jays went to the the World Series twice in the 90s, winning both times. Too bad Drake was too young to appreciate it. And while the Yankees did win 4 World Series in the 90s, they didn't make the most World Series appearances. Meaning the answer is the Atlanta Braves. The Braves had a knack for making the World Series and losing. They went to the Big Show 5 times in the 90s, only winning it all in 1995 against, you guessed it, the Cleveland Indians. And Atlanta fans have clung to that championship as the city's only major title in almost 25 years. 427 of you didn't choke like the Braves in the World Series. You got that one right. Over 200 of you got it wrong. Again, use those extra lives. Stay in this thing. We're going to keep things rolling for question number 8. Who was the manager for the 2014 United States Men's World Cup soccer team? Bruce Arena, Dave Sarakin, Jurgen Klinsmann. The good old days for U.S. soccer, back when our country was good enough to be at least one of 32 teams to make the World Cup tournament. Dave Sarakin is the current head coach of the U.S. national team, so he's got a lot of free time on his hands. He's on his couch this summer. Sarakin was Bruce Arena's assistant, and when the U.S. didn't qualify for this year's World Cup, Arena resigned. Or was fired. No one's quite sure. But the answer is Jurgen Klinsmann. He was the manager of the U.S. Men's World Cup team in 2014. He was a former winner of the World Cup as a player with West Germany. 370 of you scored a goal on that question and have qualified to hit the racetrack for question 9. Which NFL player is a part owner of the horse that finished second in the 2018 Belmont Stakes? Tom Brady, Larry Fitzgerald, Rob Gronkowski. Brady, Fitz, or Gronk? Which of these 3 future Hall of Famers rules the gridiron and the racetrack? The real question is, does the GOAT own a horse? Sound like Dr. Doolittle. The answer is no, as it's Gronk who owns a minority stake in the horse that finished second at the Belmont, and in classic Gronk fashion, the horse is named Gronkowski. Does anyone love Gronk more than Gronk? Maybe just Brady on third down. Clutch. 331 of you got that one right. You remember that. How could you forget that it was Gronkowski? Almost all of you got it right. Only 10% of you got that question wrong. You have survived. All right. We're moving on to our double-digit questions. Since you're comfortable in the pocket, let's stick around for question 10. Who is the Seattle Seahawks all-time leader in career passing yards? Dave Craig, Russell Wilson, Matt Hasselbeck. Where are my Seahawks fans at? Which of these QBs have soared higher in passing yards than any other Seahawk? All right, this one definitely surprised me. Dave Craig checks in at second on the list after an unspectacular 12 years as QB for the Hawks. While this will eventually be Russell Wilson's record to shatter, he currently sits in third place all time, meaning the correct answer is Matt Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck is most known for his 2003 playoff overtime proclamation, "We want the ball and we're going to score." He promptly threw a pick 6 and lost the game. That did not work out so well for him. 145 of you worked out well for you. You got that one right. Good for you. A lot of you thought it was Dave Craig. You remember he was there for a long time, but unfortunately, he's second to Matt Hasselbeck. 145 of you got that right answer and now get to go from the football field to the other football field for question 11. Which of these countries has never won a men's World Cup that was played in their own country? Germany, Brazil, or Italy? So which of these countries have never gotten to see their own fans rush the field like the Celtics and Lakers fans storming the court in the 80s? Who did this feat? All right, well, Italy's won 4 World Cups, but only their first victory in 1934 was played in good old Italia. Germany has won the cup 4 times as well, including in 1974 when they were known as West Germany and got to hoist the trophy in front of their fans in Munich. So the answer here, though, is Brazil. Brazil has won the World Cup 5 times, more than any other country, but they've never won it in Brazil. Brazil, better on the road than Michelin tires. 79 of you feeling good. You are just one question away from getting your hands on the HTL World Cup trophy, and more importantly, your share of $1,000. All right, for the 74 of you who got that one wrong, I hope you have an extra life. Now is clearly the time to use it. Join us on this last question. One question stands between you and all that cash. Do you have what it takes to dominate the World Cup and the Stanley Cup? Ooh, that's a transition. Let's find out. Good luck. Here it is, question 12. What non-Capitals player had the most goals in the 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs? Jake Gensel, John Marchessault, Mark Scheifele. Marchessault. All right. You may know that Ovechkin scored more goals than any other player in this year's playoffs, but which non-Capitals player finished second? So all three of these guys scored a lot of goals during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Despite the Golden Knights making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, Marchessault is the lowest of these guys, scoring only 8 goals in the playoffs and having perhaps the most difficult name of these three to pronounce. Scheifele, why are you so Scheifele? And Gensel both scored double-digit goals. One of them checks in with 10 goals, and the other scored 14. And the man who scored 14 goals was not Gensel, so your winning answer tonight is Scheifele. Scheifele finished second to Ovi in the goals department during this year's playoffs. Congratulations to our 30 winners out there tonight. Amazing job. Not one of you finished second to anyone. You are splitting our $1,000 cash prize, taking home $33.33. Hope you like the number 3, 3333. Congrats to King Erroneous, Layla Ray, Paulie Walnut. It sounds like you should be on the Jersey Shore, Paulie. JC Winter, Miss Sinister, I don't know. Come up with easier usernames to pronounce. John B. Crow. I'm Jamie. Congratulations to all of our winners here today, taking home over $33. And make sure to join us tomorrow night during the Rays-Astros baseball game, starting at 8:10 p.m. Eastern, 5:10 p.m. Pacific, airing on ESPN+. I'm your host, Jason Zone Fisher. It's great to be back. Hi, Violet. I'm coming home to change your diaper, and we'll see all of you back here tomorrow at Halftime Live. It's good to be back. Bye.